What is better than espresso and waffles and chocolate and art and architecture and dinosaurs? Nothing really. I guess throw Lorcana into the mix. Hello there, Lorcana lovelies. Today I'm talking about our trip to Ghent when we went to the DLC last weekend. So I guess we'll start where I did, which was getting there. So Tyla and I decided to make this a girls' trip. Josh met us later on in the week to be able to do the event with us, but Tyla and I heard Belgium, and we said, "Oh, we should go because waffles and chocolate." And I know there's more to Belgian food, but like we were just really excited to be able to go and have like some of the we hoped best chocolate out there, and it didn't disappoint. It was great. In fact, there was so much chocolate that we got that I actually had to willingly stop eating chocolate, which was really not like me. But all right, so let's go start where we started here. So getting to Belgium. But getting to Belgium was really nice and easy. Brussels is a main airport in Europe, so there were international flights to it. Pretty easy to get to. The more annoying part was that we had to start in Halifax, fly back to Montreal before going to Brussels. But that's kind of how it goes out here. We have an international airport that only goes to Europe in the summer, so it's not the right time in the airport. Flights were all nice and smooth. Tyler and I were lucky enough on the long one from Montreal to Brussels. We're able to have the whole road to ourselves. So in theory, there's an extra seat next to both of us. We're able to spread out a little bit and sleep, which I can't do. I can never sleep on planes. Even when I got upgraded to business class a couple flights ago, still wasn't able to sleep in the slightest. I don't know what it is. I just can't sleep in planes. But was able to get an hour worth of sleep, so enough to not feel completely like a zombie the next day. We arrived on Tuesday morning. We were able to check into our hotel, which was great to be able to drop off our stuff and have like a little nap. Always nice to be able to do that if you can. If you can't, my biggest tip for being able to go abroad and not have to suffer like days worth of jet lag is force yourself to stay awake. Like an hour nap, that's it. Cut yourself off. Otherwise, just drink as much coffee as you need to be able to get to an appropriate time, local time, to go to sleep, which is like 9:30 at night. That way, your body is forced to adjust to the time change. It's kind of like when you're in school and you end up pulling an all-nighter to be able to study for a test, and there's no point in going to sleep the next day because you know your whole sleep cycle is going to be thrown off, so you just stay awake the whole day anyways. Same type of idea. Also, eating at local times is really important too. In some cases, like in Italy, and I found it in Belgium too, the restaurants really only serve at appropriate eating times of the day. So you don't want to miss them because you actually want to get your meals. The other thing would be that also helps tell your body what time it is if it's getting kind of like its heavier meals or the meals that you would expect for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Tyler and I, the first day, we went to go see the Natural History Museum. And this is going to sound like sarcasm, but it had the best rock collection I've ever seen. And as I laugh, you have to understand, I really like rocks. I bought this geology book on made-up geology. So it was like real geology facts, but it was like they had made up stuff for it for like Dungeons and Dragons and whatnot. It's like the best book I own. I love it. And so we went and we looked at a whole bunch of really cool rocks and crystals. We spent a little while looking for where Canada was represented because they had rocks from all over the world. We got graphite, so not the most exciting crystal out there, but really cool, really big, extensive collection. And it was really neat to be able to go around and see all of the different types of rocks and crystals that are out there. I'll put some pictures up there because it might be just me and Tyler who cares about it, but I'm going to put some pictures up anyways. This museum also had a really big kind of like taxidermy collection and fossil collection. So dinosaur bones and like set up so that you could look at them and realize how big and scary these things were. There were it was a great setup. When we were originally going to a natural history museum there, I didn't have high expectations, and it definitely kind of was better than I expected. So it was wonderful. Day 2, we went to the art gallery, the Royal Art Gallery there. I love art. I love Flemish art, so we did the Old Masters collection. Saw some really great pieces there. I saw Rembrandt. I always like seeing Rembrandts. I also saw my favorite artist of all time, and I wasn't expecting him to be there, but he's French. His name is Jacques-Louis David. He's like late 1700s, 1800s, and he's, again, like my favorite artist of all time. He's amazing. He's wonderful. I cry when I see his pieces. I get so excited. And they had one of my favorite pieces by him, which is Mars and Aphrodite. Nope, that was wrong. Mars and Venus, or Ares and Aphrodite, depending if you're going to Greek or Roman on it. And it was beautiful. It was huge. I got kind of teary up again too, and I love his stuff. We spent hours walking around looking at old art, and I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, so like art is what I like. I really like the old art. We also went to go see some cathedrals, really like old architecture too, the stained glass, the buttresses, the big ceilings. So we saw a couple of those too, and like beautiful architecture. The first couple days we stayed in Brussels. Brussels was great. It was fantastic, very clean, very safe feeling city, great parks, great architecture, but it's what I would picture a modern European city to be. So there is some old stuff there, but a lot of it is kind of like new architecture, new buildings. We went to Ghent on Thursday, and Ghent is exactly what I would expect an old, historic European city to be. Really old looking architecture, stone everywhere, still built around kind of the churches and the cathedrals, and like cobblestone, to the point where like walking around at night had no idea what the rules of the road were, because like the road and the sidewalk were all one, and like there were some areas where I was thinking this is clearly just sidewalk closed to cars, but like a car would drive down, and I would be so stressed out driving there because it was all just one area: pedestrians, cyclists, cars, all in the same area. But it clearly works. Everybody knows that they're sharing the road there, and everybody kind of makes it work so that it's working for everybody there. It was, like I said, a beautiful city. Everybody's walking around at night. It had the river going through the middle, and it had boats on the river. Absolutely gorgeous. It also helped that it was like 20 degrees there. It was like shorts weather. And I'm coming from East Coast Canada, where it's like minus 14, and we have like 2-3 feet of snow. And it's snowing today too, as I look at it. But it was a gorgeous weather there, and great weather for walking around. Thursday we checked in at the event. Fanfinity runs the event. I guess from here on out I'll talk about the event. Fanfinity runs the event, and they put on a really good show. Fanfinity's always done an absolutely fantastic job. Checking in was really smooth. We all got kind of our promos, and our badges real quick. Given the amount of people there, it still only took like 20 minutes to check people in, which was awesome. We went back the next day for the event. We played day one on Friday, and it was a really well-run event. It was very smooth. Fanfinity had great judges. They always do, but like this time I really noticed it. They had judges doing what's called active judging, which is where they're walking around and looking for problems to solve them before they actually become problems. So example is 2 people started to pack up. You want to grab those people before they actually leave the table to make sure that they have reported. Otherwise, you're looking for 2 people in a sea of like 5,000 people, and it is much harder to find them then, as opposed to just trying to catch them before they actually leave the table. Another example is sitting next to me, a judge was walking by, and both people on both sides of me had different lore totals. So the judge actually noticed that. So like just little handwritten notes on both sides of the table. He noticed they were 2 different lore totals. He stopped them and said, stop your game right now. Figure out what the actual lore total is, because he was stopping a problem before it got to it. If we had got like 5 or 6 turns later and they had to work backwards and see what was missed, that's a lot harder to do than kind of pointing it out in the moment and saying, last turn or the turn before, somebody missed a lore or added an extra one, figure it out now. So great judging, great active judging, and it makes the tournament go a lot smoother and a lot quicker. As far as like how I did, I went 4-4. So I just missed that Mulan by 1. But you know what? Like, right 50-50, pretty good. I'm happy with that. I was playing Purple Steel. I wish I was that person who played dogs. But everywhere you went, you'd be like, are you that person who's playing dogs? And I did get to say no this time. But in the back of my head, I was like, but I wish I was. I was going to bring dogs because when I played, I was like, this just feels great. It feels so strong. And it clearly is strong because like it was in the top. Now, do I think it's a problem? I don't think dogs is a problem. I think that everybody was expecting Purple Steel to be the problem, and we're probably teched more for Purple Steel than they were for dogs. Give it a couple tournaments. Those dogs will be the aggro decks will be put in line again. But it is a really strong deck, and it's a great deck, and I do wish I played it. But that's kind of how that went on day 1. Everybody had a great time. As I said, everything was running really smoothly for a long tournament. It was wrapped up by like 7:30 at night, which is great. Like as I said, really smooth. Day 2, our like second day of the event, so Saturday. So none of us were playing. Even if we made day 2, none of us would be playing anyways because day 2 Sunday. So the second day was all side events for us. So Tyla and I got Josh to go play the 6-round core constructed event because we wanted his tickets to be able to go and buy promos with. So Josh did pretty good at that. He got us a whole bunch of tickets, and we were able to get hats and promos and pins and whatnot with it. I don't know if Josh got anything. I think Josh got everything he wanted at the last tournament. So Tyler and I each got to have matching hats which matches Josh's from last time. So we'll say everything worked out there. What Tyla and I did is we played the Infinity tournament, which was a lot of fun. I played Hey Hey at Infinity, and I guess I'll kind of do a recap on how Hey Hey worked. Hey Hey was great. Kind of. It was hit or miss like it always is. First round, it did nothing. I got like to turn 6 and wasn't able to play anything. So I just packed it up and went to game 2. Game 2 was the same thing. It did nothing. So I was like, all right, well, my chicken did nothing. And I think Josh texted me and said, how did it do? I'm like, well, I had 7 drop uninkables in my hand from the start. So it didn't go very well. But, oh well. Round 2, a lot better. I actually did get to play Hey Hey and sing A Whole New World with him, which felt great. That was my whole goal, and I did it once. Actually, I think I did it 2 or 3 times, so that was good. I accomplished my goal. Game 4, so round 4, I sat down, big smile on my face. I play Little Chicken on turn 1, and my opponent says, I know what you're doing, and he let the Storm Rages on and takes him out. It was just so sad. I was so excited. I think I yelled no, and then he laughs, and then my deck did nothing else for the rest of the game. So, but game 2 against him, I was able to get my chicken, and I think I was able to get Big Cindy, and I think I was able to play A Whole New World. Game 3, I had like A Whole New World into A Whole New World. He had 15 cards left. My gut said I should A Whole New World it again, and be able to kind of like make him deal with the last bottom parts of his deck. I didn't. I should have, but I didn't. And I guess now I'm relearning that A Whole New World is definitely what you want to just keep chaining. My only complaint for the whole event comes from the next event that we did, which was we did the team up event. So team up, there was no description of it online first. I reached out to Fanfinity through Discord and I asked them what the description was. They didn't send it to me, which is too bad because I thought this sounds like Two-Headed Giant for Magic. And if it is, Tyla and I wanted to build very specific kind of partner up decks for it. But nobody let us know beforehand, so we weren't able to build those decks. We built kind of like a halfy version. I built a halfy version of the deck, which could kind of like be supportive for Tyla's deck, so she could be fighty. So this was kind of our whole plan here. We showed up, we asked the front desk, hey, what's team up? And they said, it's Two-Headed Giant, like Magic. And so we thought, great, that's exactly what we wanted. And for anybody who doesn't know, here's how you play Two-Headed Giant for Magic. You sit here, your partner sits right beside you, and even though you have 2 separate hands, it is perfect knowledge. You show your opponent your hand, they can tell you what they think you should do, you can tell them what you think you should do, you can make perfect optimal plays together. You can sequence things so that they are in the exact order that is best for you. It is... I really like collusion is kind of a negative word here, but the point of it is to collude with your opponent, and not opponents, to collude with your partner against your opponents, and vice versa. Your opponents are supposed to have perfect knowledge of each other's as well. So we sit down for our first round, and our opponents say you're in the wrong spots. You have to be diagonal from each other so that you can't see each other's hands and you can't communicate secretly. You have to communicate openly, and everybody needs to be aware of what's going on, which totally was not the event that we were expecting. So it was a disappointment there because we were expecting to be able to play together. And this just made it so that there was really no point in being a team because you weren't able to kind of sequence things for your team. And so that was kind of a disappointment that way. So we went and we actually asked the staff and we said, hey, we think our opponents got this wrong because we were told Two-Headed Giant and this is how Two-Headed Giant works. And the front desk staff said, yeah, you should be sitting next to each other. But when we showed up for our next round opponent said, nope, sit across, sit diagonal from each other. And the judge even said so too. So my only complaints was that team up, which I think was kind of like a new event that they would put in. The judgings and the tournament staff did not have the same idea of what it was. It was miscommunicated to at least us. And other people who were sitting there kept saying, why aren't we sitting next to each other? We should be sitting next to our partner. And I totally agree. So I'm going to do some Two-Headed Giant games with the girls around here and kind of put them up here so I can show you what I think the, team up should be. So if that was my only complaint for the whole thing, it's too bad because it's how we ended the event. So we ended with being sad with how that went, but yeah, it is what it is. We did not go back for Sunday. We had waffles and kind of granola and coffee in beautiful Ghent, and then we went to the airport because we had an early morning flight the next day. So that is my quick recap of Ghent. Quick, I guess, notes were the event was run really well. It was like the judging staff was great. The tournament organizing staff was great. Everything turned around nice and quickly. It felt like a very smooth event, so good on Fanfinity for that. Belgium was a wonderful place. The food was great. The people were nice. As far as like an English speaker goes, it was very easy to speak English. I know enough French to get me by and sound like I'm trying really hard to speak French. I also know how to say I only speak a little bit of French, and that got me around enough in some of the French areas that I was able to kind of like get through with my very mediocre French and gesturing. So as far as the two cities go, both were fantastic for different reasons, and also the same reason: the food, the culture, the people, all great. But like modern city versus historic city, I would totally suggest to go and do both, and they're nice and close enough to each other that you totally can. So that was my recap of Ghent. Looking forward, I'm going to Dortmund, which I am very excited about too. Josh and I are going to Dortmund, and I'm very excited to be able to go sleeve up dogs. I have my massive cards I have to put away here. I'm going to go sleeve up dogs so that Josh and I can replay some of the top decks again, and I can go and make him play against dogs. I don't know what he's going to play, but I hope he plays the slow deck so that I can just like run real quick to that finish line. So that is Ghent. Great time, fantastic tournament, and that is that. I'm excited to be able to go to Dortmund and do this all again in a couple months.